This is my record from Overheat Records in Japan in the early 80s. Pray for Smurf. I wanted to name it Smurfy Beaver Shots, but Matt Groening talked me out of it. It's kind of bad psychedelic country music. Back in the 70s, I started painting in this format on heavy watercolor paper with acrylic, and I'm still doing it 30 years later or 35 years later. All my stuff starts in sketchbooks. I've been doing them since the late 60s. There's like a ceiling idea for a light show of like floating helium balloons above a perforated ceiling that has air jets that can like blast the balloons, and then it lets in light from above, you know. I worked as a janitor at an insurance building, and then I worked at a printing place, a dot etcher at a color separation place for a year in Dallas after school. And then I went to LA in '76 until '86. And so when I got there, it was really at the beginning of punk rock. So these are the ones that are like in the gallery show now. They end up framed under glass. And so it's nice that way, but it's also nice that they have a nice surface. So when you see one on canvas, you're actually seeing it without glass in front of it, which is kind of nice. Here's another old sketchbook. It looks like it's hundreds of years old, but it's not. It just got wore out from handling too much. At art school, I'd been drawing this kind of like jaggedy type of style since about '72, and couldn't find a place for it. And then when punk came out, I saw Slash magazine, and it looked like the same kind of stuff. You know, it was like black and ripped up and black and white. And so then after that, it had a place to be. I have this character Jimbo, who's a punk rocker. And he started out just having adventures that are like, you know, a punk rocker. But over the years, I guess I decided nobody was reading this. And so I would just amuse myself with it. And so it's gotten stranger and stranger. For 10 years, I've been drawing this monthly strip in a Japanese reggae magazine called Rhythm. It's a surrealistic strip, and it's kind of like more poetic than literal in a way. And I kind of think up the story every month, and then I typically kind of don't tell the story. My father's a cowboy and Indian painter. He's a real cowboy. He's like got a hat and boots and cuts brush and all that stuff. He tends to go back and forth between these emblematic kinds of paintings and the more illusionistic kind of paintings, because he's like half Indian, half Choctaw. Paintings, they just gradually change over time. You know, I'll come up with some idea and do like a lot of variations of it, like these white on black paintings, and I'll move on. I might come back to it or use it as a part of something else. You know, it's got a title down there. I don't know what it's called. Paul Rubens approached me to do a poster for a stage show he wanted to do, and that led to, you know, years later to designing the TV show, the Pee Wee's Playhouse TV show. And Paul and I are still friends, and we're still working on new ideas all the time. Keyhole, it's called Keyhole. The titles are a little bit arbitrary. Sometimes to get titles, I have like this big book that lists sound effects. Yeah, it's all part of the same project in a way. The sketchbooks are fun and kind of vital. Comics are really hard. They just take hundreds of hours, and you have to I have to race it over and over and over to even make it look crappy. Painting is real, kind of like Zen. So anyway, that's what my paintings are like.